I'm pleased to be here and looking forward to present my topic to you, which I did together with my colleague Nicole Gerber from the Institute of Facility Management. Towards a standardized definition of room categories, or the short name RakaS. Here we have it. I will briefly give you an overview about this presentation. I will introduce the topic and then show you the research question that we set up. Then the objective which is behind it, the method we had, and of course the results, which is the main part of it, and a conclusion. Well, why another standard definition for room categories? There are different room categorizations out. They are set up, but some of them are just for the inter-industrial field. Some of them are for the partly for the healthcare field, and some of them are for the healthcare context. But they are only partially applied for the Swiss healthcare organization, for the Swiss healthcare field. Also no standards and for room definitions are out that all of our organizations are following. What are the reasons for that? The norms, obviously, they do not cover the needs for facility management in healthcare in Switzerland. As a reaction to that, Nicole Gerber already launched in the year 2017 the first version of RakaS, and now I can present the validated version of this room categorization. Okay, so the research question is basically a very simple one. We asked us which changes have to be made in the RakaS 1.0 version in order to fulfill quality criteria for conceptual models. So the main goal was that this standard or this categorization is going to be accepted from the organization. So it needs to be lean and clear structure. So that was the main goal. That is connected with the objective. We want to evaluate the utility, the practicability, and the viability. We did that by the quality criteria framework, which asks the following questions about the model. Are the goal, the scope, and the contribution of the conceptual model clearly described? Is the context of the conceptual model relevant? Is the conceptual model economically efficient? Very important point. Does practice accept and use the conceptual model? Well, it's difficult to answer that question in advance, but we tried to go into this direction. Does it fulfill the needs of the users? Does it solve the defined problem? Is it clearly readable and interpretable? So according to the language, the symbols or colors. Is it easy to understand and identify the essential points? Does it have a systematic design, and is it consistent? Also, is it concise and compact? I guess this is one of the most important points to bring it into the organizations. And then also, can it be compared to other parallel models? So our methodology, as mentioned, we had this first version, RakaS 1.0, from the year 2017. So with the replies and the reactions, the hints from healthcare organizations, mainly from hospitals we did an extended desk research followed by a multi-stage validation, so consortial research. First of all, we did one case study with one specific hospital and discussed RakaS 1.0, how they actually think about using it, if it's convenient, etc., etc. And after that, and also with the inputs we found out in our desk research, we set up a interview guide, semi-structured, and then we went to 8 additional German-speaking hospitals in Switzerland and got a lot of data and did the data analysis with that. Okay, so now to the results. What did we find out? Basically, RakaS 2.0 now contains, is out of 4 components. The first part is a documentation which describes all details and the decisions that we made in the research process so that the user understands how did we do that and how do I have to actually use RakaS 2.0. Then the second part, and maybe the most important part, is the systematically illustrated overview about all the rooms, spaces, areas that we have in hospitals. I will come back to that in a minute again. The third part is a corresponding table that contains all the details to the different rooms and the categories. Also, to this table, I will say a little bit more in a minute. As a fourth part, we also created a keyword index to make it more user-friendly so that in the organizations, people actually can work with it much easier. So, as said, let's have a look at the overview. It's very small for you to read, I know, but you can see here basically 10 categories, 10 main categories, with each with the corresponding subcategories. It's a lean and clear structure out of my point of view, and compared to RakaS 1.0, we did only a few changes. What we did is actually we added a color scheme from SCA 416 so that it is easier for the user to distinguish the different spaces and areas. So the red color, yellow, blue. Let's have a closer look at one of the categories. So on the left side, you see the main category, and on the right side, you see the different room types with their names. So here it's about the living spaces and the living areas. So it contains, for example, subcategories such as the accommodation rooms in hospitals, the staff apartments, the restaurants, but also the waiting areas. And the table now, that is also just one part of the table. The whole table is much, much bigger. It contains all the details about different rooms, but it follows the same structure as the overview. It contains also the sources, so where did we take the definition from? Is it from an existing norm, or is it a result of our research, of our project? Yeah, I said that. Good. I'm already at this point. In conclusion, we can say now RakaS 2.0 is something that is, it provides a basis for a standardized room classification and is thus the basis for benchmarking between healthcare organizations in terms of room KPIs. So we hope that it's going to be used by the practice. It's also a basis for transferring data to digital models in a standardized manner, allowing better planning and calculation of the necessary area before construction. Yeah, all the material, the 4 components, our results are available online. You find it in the conference book or just Google it. yeah, that was already my presentation. Thank you very much for listening to me, and enjoy the rest of the conference.